Good evening everybody and welcome to round 3. It's the THRacing Tourenwagen Meisterschaft 2025 and we're here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Yes, that's right, over 20 kilometers of pure racetrack for the drivers to contend with, lap after lap for a solid hour. A quick recap on round 2 before we begin. Once again, bad news for the reigning champion Jaroslav Cerny. Yet again caught in trouble at turn 1. It's been a major setback in his title defence, but he managed to achieve some degree of damage control by recovering back up to 7th place. The strongest Holden result was achieved by Adam Keefe in 8th on the HX tyres. Happy Coyote was the top finishing Ford in 10th place despite pitting for new tyres halfway through. Jaden HW topped the list of Nissan drivers in 17th place, and Akira climbed to 19th in the sole Audi entry. Having gained 12 places, he was one of the top movers in the race. The manufacturers that brought the most cars into the top 10 were Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo with 3 cars each. BMW had the pace to achieve the same, but their drivers lacked the consistency to bring it home. After drop scores, the championship currently stands with each driver only counting their best result. First place, Kuba Palabicki on 40 points, dropping 31. Valentin Knitschel also has 40 points as he's dropped 30. Happy Coyote has 37 points as he's dropped 25. Attila Dinner also has 37, again dropping 25, with Adam Serelek. He sits in 34 points in 5th place after dropping 23. In the Teams Championship, Jolly Club move up into the lead at 77 points, whilst Heidhart Motorsports remain at 71 points after a bad second round. Simruina Racing Team 3 advances into 3rd with 65 points, and Ahashi Motorsport with 55 hangs on to 4th. The top 5 are completed by Linda Rennsport with 53. But as we all know with Nordschleife, anything can change here. With how far the drivers have to go around and for how long they have to, and with the tendency of these cars, who knows what will happen. One slight change coming into round 3, we have a slightly different tyre compound which should suit some of the cars better, as at round 2 some of the cars were suffering with some tyre wear problems, so that's now been resolved. A new tyre compound has been developed and that should hopefully help bring out some performance in some of the cars. Currently then, it's Minna D'Orsi who is your fastest in the warm-up session. Gone in with a 909.6. Nat Stevenson is in 3rd, and Juan-Lu Gonzalez, another Simruina 190E, is in 2nd. Max Solomia, he is in the Holden. Jaroslav Cerny, reigning champion from THR 2024, shooting flames out the back of his E30, flying through. So how about we take a look at some qualifying results. It's Mark Oros, he's qualified on pole with an 8:54.1. Jaroslav Cerny, as we're watching now, he is closely behind, just 0.42 slower over this nearly 9-minute lap with an 8:54.5. Happy Coyote, the fastest of the RS500 Sierras, he's come in with an 8:55.6, just 1.4 seconds off pole. The second BMW of Kuba Palubicki, as we just go over now in a Jägermeister livery, he qualified 4th with an 8:55.7, just 1.5 seconds off pole. Adam Serelek is in 5th, first of the Holdens. Heidhart Motorsport, number 17. Then after that, Attila Dinner, first of the Alfa Romeos. Again out on track, the number 27 car. Parmalat on the window banner. Really running out to the outside there. Let's hop on board. Goes through the best section of the track in my humble opinion. Up through the gearbox then. Bows down through Wipperman and into Eschbach. Really having to fight the car through the corners there. Next up, another sim ruiner car was Ayrton Titos. He's qualified in 7th with an 8:58.7. Then it's Alfie Bevan, new driver to the series. First did the TTM round last week on the Saturday at Horseman Raceway, and his run in that gave him a position in the top class in TTM on Sunday nights, and he's whacked his E30 BMW into 8th place with an 8:59.7. Valentin Knitschel is the second of the Alfa Romeos. He's in 9th place with an 8:59.7 again. Very, very close to the back of Alfie Bevan, just a 10th in it. So he's on the GP loop. So completely full Nordschleife for this, including the GP track. And again, 39 cars on the grid, absolutely stacked in the THRacing Tourenwagenmeisterschaft 2025. As we're closing up on the final 5 minutes of warm-up tonight. DJM D19 qualified in 10th place, another sim ruiner car. The number 48 190E. No information on the sim ruiner guys, unfortunately. But a big team. 3 teams have actually entered over this weekend. One of the biggest racing teams in Spain. Wolf Iser, he qualified 11th in the Alfa Romeo, followed by Bobby Vakanoff with a 901.5 in another Alfa Romeo. Bobby is out on track at the moment, so let's see what he's up to. Brake disc glowing on the front of that Alfa, struggling to get it stopped there. So he flicks it through the S section. As he heads on up to Floodplatz. Absolutely flying through there. Next up was Meisterjäger, but I hear he is a late withdrawal, so we won't be seeing his 190E on the grid today. Adam Keefe, another Holden driver, he is in 14th. But I believe Adam is... let's double check that. Adam is not a late withdrawal, so don't quote me on that one. '15th place is Jacopo Hinrico. He's in another 190E BMW 190? No, BMW M3. So I'm a little bit rusty, nearly a month off. But we are back on for round 3 of the 2025 TTM Championship here at THRacing. Let's go check out FMG in the R31 Skyline. FMG down in 22nd place in qualifying with a 907.6. FMG, 6-time THR champion. Won the most recent THR championship in the Porsche 718 RS Trophy. Overall winner at the THR 6 Hour of Le Mans in 2024. Not quite having as much luck in his Skyline here at the Nürburgring, but a very long race and a very tough track. So I'm sure that skill and experience will pay off for him in the long run as we enter the final 2 minutes of warm-up. One person to look at is Akira, the Sol Audi 80 V8 Evo Quattro. been corrected from my Imola commentary. This is actually a Belgian Pro Car livery that's been reincarnated onto his car for the THRacing TTM 2025. Akira in 24th place with a 909. The sole runner in the Audi. Difficult car, he's having to build the setup all by himself. No teammates or fellow manufacturers he can concur with to help build on that car. So doing well to be nearer the top half of the grid. So we have a 39 car entry today. It's the final minute of qualifying. Is now underway, the long straight. 280 kilometers per hour in the Audi. Flying along in 6th gear at 9,000 revs. So one thing to note for tonight is we will have a rolling start procedure. Cars will start on the main back straight and then make their way towards the GP start. To start the race. Zakira goes up to 5th in warm-up now. Let's go check on Jaden, an R31 runner. Jaden in 17th place in qualifying, which is the fastest R31. He set a 9:05.2. Very close to the back of Mina D'Orsi, who is currently 3rd fastest in practice. Very much pushing the track to its limits there, dipping a wheel on the grass. As he comes around Brunchen. Let's hop on board with Jaden. Class driver, raced with him for a very long time, probably knocking on a decade now. Drops it down a gear. Carries the speed through the corner, slight corrections, flicks it in and uses the power to carry it through the corner. Improved tyre compound on the Skyline this weekend. Should help him last a little bit longer. Sideheart Motorsports. Two-time runner-up at THR is Jaden, but he's won many championships elsewhere, bringing a bunch of experience and skill to this series. But really figuring out what he can do with this Skyline. Best to get it out your system now as the timer runs down to 0 and warm-up comes to an end. Other mentions could be Nat Stevenson. He is down in 28th place in his Alfa Romeo in qualifying after a very strong outing at Imola at the start of the season. 295 kilometers per hour, nearly 300 by the time he gets to the end of the straight for Jaden in the Skyline. And he does manage to get it stopped, smoke pouring from the front passenger corner. Big boot of throttle to get it out, and he heads to the pit lane, practice a pit entry perchance. Seems to be going awfully fast there. Check Maju, he is in the Everlast 2S1000 Bathurst Holden. Absolutely flying through flood paths. Adam Saralek, another front runner from Imola. Adam hoping for a good result this time. 3rd place in TTM last year with 1 win in the championship. He also won the 4 hours of Deutschlandring with Jaden in 2023. Sidehart fielding 2 teams of cars under Sidehart Motorsports as well as Sideharts. I believe they run under a different name for round 1. Hi-Fi, Sidehart Hi-Fi, if I remember correctly. So Jacobo Hinreko qualified 15th with a 9:04. He's making his way around the final section of the GP loop, and we'll get a look at which chicane is being used. I presume the quick one. Not too much curb, very nice there. Corrects the car, tidies it up on apex. Nice late apex as we head on to the Nordschleife. Such great skill and a wide variety of cars in this field. 39 entrants. See one of these Simbruna racing cars parking it on apex. So we see Alfie Bevan promoted up to the TTM Championship after a very solid outing in TCTM 2 weeks ago at Horsma, using the Demon Tweaks E30 M3. Qualified 8th fastest on debut. An iconic late 80s British touring car, European touring car livery with the Minshaws. Knows this car and track very well, does Alfie. Renault Sport enthusiast, he told me to mention. Prior to the race, if I could get a check on audio levels, that would be brilliant. So Eamon Asabir in one of the Simbruna 190Es. That's the Sprite Racing 190E. Rocking about 280k's, 285k's down the start-finish straight. Thank you very much, Nakar888. Much appreciated. We see Max Solmier in the Chardonnay Holden. Max qualified in 31st place on a 9:13.6. Plenty of time for him still to find round the Nordschleife. Really throwing that car about as it powers down onto the back straight. Warm-up should be finishing shortly, and we will head over into the main race. Due to it being such a long lap here, just allowing everyone to finish their final laps in warm-up, and then we will move on over. Pushing 300 kilometers per hour in the Holden then. Apologies about that mild intermission. Had to do a reboot on the headset. We are back in action. Let's go check on Jaden, how he's getting on in the R31 Skyline. Final bits of warm-up now for everyone. Jaden in 17th place, so a fair bit of ground to find during the race, but I'm sure that's something he is more than capable of. As Alfie Bevan's coming round to the final section of his lap on the Nordschleife. Heading through Brunchen, the YouTube corner. Brake disc glowing on that M3. The big drop down, bit of a lock of brakes, manages to hold it as that is that. Warm up is over and the 1 hour race is ahead. So let's take a quick look back at the championship standings after round 2. Number 20, Kuba Palubicki, he leads on 40 points with a drop result of 31. Valentin Knichel is also on 40 points, but due to a drop result of 30, he is in second place. Habib Koyot also has 37 points with a drop result of 25, as well as Attila Dinner, also on 37 points with a drop result again of 25. Adam Serelek in 5th sits on 34 points with a drop result of 23. In the Teams Championships, Jolly Club move into the lead at 77 points, while Sideheart Motorsports remain at 71 after a bad second round. Simbruna Racing Team 3 advances into 3rd on 65 points, and Ahashi Motorsport in 55 points hangs on to 4th. The top 5 are completed by Linda Rennsport on 53 points. Last round, manufacturers that brought the most cars into the top 10 were Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo with 3 cars each. BMW had the pace to achieve the same, but their drivers lacked the consistency to bring it home. So let's see if they've improved on that this week as we're about to head on to the back straight at the Nürburgring and get this race underway. 1 hour of Nordschleife. May need to do a reconnect here, bear with. So some minor technical difficulties on my end, but we should be back up and running shortly. Just in time to catch the race start. Okay, as the entire grid now launches out of the start, rolling start here at the Nordschleife. As the entire field falls through. Mark Oros on pole position, Jaroslav Cerny reigning champion alongside Happy Coyote and Kuba Paliubicki in third and fourth on the second row. Adam Serelek, Attila Dinner, all front runners in the championship. Alfie Bevan, newcomer in eighth on the fourth row. Keep an eye out for him as the grid is heading up to the line. Leader can decide when the pack goes. Yaroslav holding back, Simbruina on pole, and they are off. Mark Oros leading the pack into turn one. Looks like Attila Dinner on the inside, trying to make it through there. Ayrton Titos. Alfie Bevan on the inside. As everyone goes 2 by 2 through the first section, all seems to be rather clean. Mark Oros retains the lead. Got a good gap of second in the first corner. Simbruina, number 45, in the lead. Alfie Bevan has made up a few places. He is up into 6th, but he's got to deal with the straight line speed of Happy Coyotes. RS500 Sierra as the entire pack now comes down into the hairpin. 39 cars on this grid. THR TTM 2025. Mark Oros retains the lead. A slight collision at the back of the field, but everybody else has got through the pack cleanly. Yaroslav Cerny, reigning champion, in third place. Lost one off the line from Kuba Paliubicki in the Jägermeister E30. Alfie Bevan up to 6th. A great start from the pair of E30s making up places. As a little bit further back we had DJ and Valentin Kanichel making contact. They make contact again. Heading into the far chicane, we've got a big pack of cars in the background too. That is Akira in the Audi. He's going through the pack well. Jaden HW's made his way up to 13th place as they now head on to the Nordschleife loop. Mark Oros retains the lead, but the gap's now down to half a second from Kuba Paliubicki. Yaroslav Cerny in hot pursuit in third. So we watch the entire pack of field go through. In there now, one that I want to watch is Happy Coyote in the Sierra. Wow, that's loud. Is he going to have the power down through floodplats? He's got to get it through the corner, but how quickly is he going to catch onto the back of that E30 with Alfie Bevan in front? The Eggenberger Sierra on boost, reeling in the E30. Can he get past? Alfie moves over to the middle of the track to defend. Happy Coyote all over the rear end, but cannot get the Sierra around the corner quick. And Alfie Bevan holds on to the place. Rest of the pack running through smoothly. We see Akira in the sole Audi a little bit on the grass as one of the Sierras goes down the inside of the Sprite 190E. Oh, Yaroslav certainly a big slide from here, but manages to gather it all up, the number one. Alfie Bevan still doing a great job of holding off the powerful Sierra behind him. Jacopo Himreko makes his way back up to 15th place. FMG in the R31 Skyline. Boss Coffee, Suntory Racing Team, down in 24th. Lost a few places off of the start. Jacopo Himreko and the Jägermeister car all over the rear end of Bobby Vakinov. In the Alfa Romeo Jolly Club, remember, team's leaders going to want to have to keep on to that place. Nat Stevenson, another Alfa Romeo, he has got FMG right in front. Jordi Samoy in the Pepsi car right behind him. Big slide there from FMG, gathers it all up and takes it through the corner okay. Kuba Palibicki still within half a second of Mark Oros in the lead. Simbruna holding on to the lead for now. Adam Serelek, 0.3 of a second behind Attila Dinner, who has a big slide. And the power of that hold and RPM tacho all the way back round to 0, really ringing the motor of that car. Heavy braking as they head up the hill now. The power and torque of that Holden should do him favours here. Is he going to have it? Let's see. Alfie Bevan as well behind. He's going to be in trouble with that big Sierra coming. Adam Serelek looking where to go. Alfie's got to keep that guy. Oh, Happy Coyote has made the move. The power of the Sierra has made it happen. Let's go back with Adam Serelek. He's side by side with Attila Dinner. Does he have the place? Yes, he does. All over the grass, but manages to hold on to it. What great driving from Adam Serelek in the Holden. BMW's now in the top two. Second and third place, sorry. Mark Oros in the lead in the 190E. Alfie Bevan, though, in this next section in that E30 should be all over the rear end of that Sierra. Chapeau Himreko behind one of the side heart Sierras. Can't quite get it stopped. That's Potato Hedron. As they head up into the carousel, let's hop on board here. Great part of the track, many fan favourite part. DJMD, he is all over the rear of Adam Keefe. So much action wherever you look. Again, a Simruna car. Can't quite find the gap yet. What about Alfie Bevan? This is where that M3 is going to have the advantage over the Sierra. He's soaring at the wheel to make that thing rotate, and look at him go. Two wheels on the grass, pushing that to the limit, but so is Happy Coyote in front. This is the place where the E30 is going to make up times. We see Adam Serelek make a mistake in front. He's sideways and there's nowhere to go. They go down the inside. Manage to avoid him, and Adam picks up the pace quick, but Alfie's a little bit in shock from that one. Loses the rear end, dipping a wheel on the grass, but he's still carried the momentum. What a bit of driving there from Alfie Bevan to hold onto the car. Again, soaring at the wheel. He wants to be somewhere near that Sierra, preferably in front of it by the time they get back onto the big straight at Dossinger Hall. Happy Coyote absolutely in one with that Sierra, doing a great job as Alfie can't keep on the back of it. What a great camera angle that was. Let's try catch that one again if we can. Watching the cars fly through here. Let's go see Eamon Asabir in the Sprite 190. He's all over the back of Christian Muez. Ex-teammate of Valentin Knichel, part of the team's championship last year. Not much he can do there to get past. But let's see, Happy Coyote then. As Alfie runs onto the grass, he is off wide, and that's going to open him right up to Adam Serelek, who made the mistake earlier. The power of that Holden is surely going to reel in the BMW now. Alfie staying over to the left-hand side to keep the line as short as possible down the straight, but there's nothing he can do. The Holden is coming, and it is coming quick. So again, we see Jaroslav Cerny now. He's all over the rear, and he is pulled alongside Kuba Kalubicki, the reigning champion, now up into second place. But Mark Oros, he has pulled out a great lead, 2.2 seconds on this opening lap now. So Kuba's going to want to try and get that position back quickly, a little bit too much over the curb, and that's ruined his run a little bit out of the corner. Florian Mass, he isn't too far off in the Sierra, must have had a great run on Jacopo in front. But now he's got to deal with a corner on Grand Tourer 25. He's behind the bigger is better Sierra, but now it's just going to drive off in a straight line. Nothing you can do about that. What about Jaden? He's moved up to 12th, and he is alongside Minada Orsi in the 190E, the Zhang Fu car. Quite a lot of curb there on entry. As again we see DJMD and Potato Hedron side by side. This battle's been going on for a while. A bit of a bump out of the corner as that Sierra is off boost, and then he dumps the clutch and off that thing shoots into turn 2. Flying along, and now he's got to deal with Shipoko Himreko, who's been all over the mid-pack this race, back up into 15th where he started. Akira in the Sol Audi, he's behind Christian Muez. Last lap then, it was a 10.12 from Mark Oros, a 10.14 from Jaroslav, a 10.15 from Palubicki, and a 16 from Coyote, so all still very close. Fastest second sector went to Adam Serelek, and fastest third sector, no surprise in that Sierra, was Happy Coyote, absolutely flying in a straight line. Alfie Bevan holding on to 7th place, but he's got Valentin Knichel in the Jolly Club Alfa Romeo closing in rapidly behind, and that Alfa Romeo's got some good straight line speed as well, as we see the turbo boost in the middle of the dash flying away. That may actually be the oil pressure gauge, you'll have to correct me on that one if I am wrong, as they come into the chicane now. 0.3 of a second behind. Valentin all over the rear of the Demon Tweaks E30 of Alfie Bevan. 2 wheels up on the curb, and that's unsettled the car. Lost a little bit of time. Manages to bring it through though. Great racing on the opening lap, and we've still got 47 minutes to go. Currently, the 190E is in the leader of Mark Oros. Simruina Racing, a massive sim racing team in Spain. See what time he sets through the first sector when that comes through. The number 45, Jaroslav Cerny, reigning champion in the E30. He's got Kuba Palubicki all over his tail. As Jacopo Himreko, as one of the side hot Sierras goes into the wall, that's Potato Hedron. And Jacopo manages to get the position back. Look at the spotlights blazing on that Sierra. But here comes the Sierra now. Let's hop on board and watch the straight line speed as he comes out of... as he's coming up towards Floodplatz. Can he get alongside? He decides... oh, he goes for a lift. Bit undecisive there as they're side by side through Floodplatz. Don't want to be doing that. Potato Hedron spent enough time in the wall recently, doesn't want to be doing any more. Valentin Knichel seems to have been able to power past Alfie Bevan as well with the straight line speed of that Alpha, and Potato Hedron is leaving the BMW for dust. But the problem is, Jacopo's got another Sierra and a 190E behind him of Florian Mass and DJMD, but now the braking of the Sierra, that's what lets it down. Jacopo's getting back up the inside, but the Sierra is going to get a great run out the corner, but now the downhill nature of the track won't affect the cars as much. Let's go on board with Florian Mass. They make contact with DJMD 19. Rear window shattered on that 190E, a flash of the lights as well, showing his frustration. Can't get the place done. The bigger is better Sierra needs a bigger turbo on it to get past that 190E, that is for sure. Alfie and Valentin still running close, 0.4 of a second apart. Can the Sierra get past this time? I don't think the straight's going to be long enough. DJ moves to the inside, but so does Florian Mass. He pulls alongside. Can DJ run it around the outside? Yes, he can. He's going to have a better set of brakes on that 190E as well. Still side by side, and he holds onto the position. Great driving from DJ MD, making use of the 190E's extra grip and doing a great job. Alfie Bevan now, he's all over the rear of Valentin after being passed earlier in the lap. The Demon Tweaks is really being a demon, filling up his mirrors. A little kick of the rear end, manages to hold it all in check. But the Alpha's going to power away up this next big hill, so he's got to stay as close as he can, keep within that slipstream, and make sure he can put himself in the best position for the second half, or the third half of the lap, where that M3 will come alive. Fastest first sector then goes to Mark Oros, race leader, Simruna Racing in the 190E with a 3:36.2. Then it's Jaroslav Cerny in second place. He set a 3:36.6, 36.7 from Kuba Balapicki in third, 36.6 from Happy Coyle in the Sierra. Then it's a 37 from Attila Dinner, Adam Serelek with a 36.7. Valentin Knichel 37.9, Alfie with a 38.6 as the rest of the pack comes through. Adam Keefe in the Holden, he should have a great run here on Ayrton Titos in front in the Simruna Racing 190E. He pulls alongside the Castrol Bathurst livery, an iconic car, straight past up the hill. Great drive there from Adam Keefe, but now he's got to defend it from the rest of the pack. Adam doing well, not starting too much at the front of the grid, but he's put that engine of that Holden and the great grunt to put himself in a good position as Alfie Bevan is off wide. That's not what he's going to want. Pushing to keep up with Valentin in that M3. And now he's got Adam all over the rear end. Can't go too wide here though as they head into the carousel. Hard on the brakes. Alfie a little bit wide, but tucks it in nicely. Adam's got a great run off the corner though. Alfie's got to be careful here. Can the Holden go around the outside? No, it can't. The nimbleness of that E30 holding the position. But the problem is now Adam's got Ayrton Titos. He's back again after that run up the hill where the Holden gained the advantage. Ayrton is now in a great place for that 190E to come alive. See a train of cars flying through there. Alfie's a little bit all over the road, but so is everybody else off put. Second sector times have come in. It's a 2:28 from Mark Oros, 0.1, a 2:27.2 from Yaroslav, closing the gap back up a bit. 2:27.4 from Kuba, 27.1, fastest from Happy Coyle in the Sierra. So he is making good progress catching up to the top three, and if he can keep it together through this last sector, down the back straight, he is going to be in a great position to be able to get onto this lead pack. The gap now 1.6. Happy Coyle is flying in that Sierra. Alfie doing a good job to build a bit of a gap, but he knows the inevitable is coming. Ooh, almost into the back there, Ayrton Titos. Alfie again out wide, really pushing the limits. We'll have this great camera shot of the cars flying over the crest there. Thank you to Valentin Knichel for this custom camera set. Attila Dinner though, he's catching up to Adam Serelek. The Alfa Romeo quite speedy in a straight line. Got to remember Attila Dinner, a previous esports champion. Finalist in the Avia e-racing championship in 2019. Multiple race wins and championships in the virtual racing EV series as well. Can he keep up to the back of that Holden? Let's see what Alfie's going to have to deal with as they head onto the straight. That Holden is going to be approaching and approaching fast. Comes Adam Keefe in the Holden. In the slipstream, Alfie knows that the left-hand side is the shortest line. And he manages to get the place. Alfie's going to duck back into the slipstream to try and take some advantage, but can't quite get it done. As Mark is about to bring the pack onto lap 3. Last sector for Mark, he set a Not quite sure. Live timing is a little all over the place at the moment, so we'll get back to you on that. But Happy Coyote with an 8:58.9. Great lap from him. A little bit of a lock-up, but he's all over the back. Oh, he's got past Kuba Balabicki. Sorry, I've missed that. Happy Coyote driving great. Live timing is back up and running properly now. Last lap then was a 9:03 for Mark, a 9:01 for Jaroslav Cerny, an 8:58.914 for Happy Coyote. The car you're seeing now, the number 727 Sideheart Motorsports machine. Again, a THR champion in the past, doing a great job to bring that Sierra up into the podium here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. 39 minutes to go. See what Bobby's having to deal with in the Alpha. All over the rear end of Jaden HW. Currently the fastest and highest placed R31 Skyline. Last time round, Jaden was a 10:27.2. No, he wasn't. Sorry, the live timing is all over the place. Last time round, it was a 9:09.9 for Jaden and a 9:07.6. So 2 seconds gained last lap for Bobby. And he is going to get that position to get him closer to the top 10. Alfie Bevan has got a very sorry looking E30 M3 here. As we see Ayrton Tirtos running a little bit wide. But Alfie's going to be in a good position to try and keep up with Adam Keefe. He's got some technical sections coming, as we see a bit of a lock-up from Valentin in front. But again, Happy Coyote is currently the fastest car on track. So we'll keep an eye out for what he is going to be able to achieve. But with an 8:58, he should be able to close that gap in quite quickly if he can keep the pace. But what about Florian Mass? He's got Potato Hedron in a Sideheart Sierra in front of him. Two evenly matched cars. Different tyre compound this weekend to what they ran at rounds 1 and 2 at Imola and Horsemer. What about Eamon Asabir? He's side by side now with FMG. Suntory Racing, they're going to make contact, banging doors. Banging doors again on exit as Eamon forces him wide up onto the curb. He's not going to like that. FMG is 6-time THR champion, down in 25th place at the moment. 9:19 last time round, not having a great time in that Skyline. A lot of battles further down the field. For 26th place, we've got Rolf Biber and Maju. And the iconic Everlast Bathurst 1000 livery as the lights go on now for Maju. But that Alfa Romeo in front is surprisingly quick. Akira in the Audi, he's side by side with Christoph Muez in the 190E. Trying to use the power of that Audi in the four-wheel drives. They go side by side. Bit of a lock-up. Manages to keep it all together and tucks back in behind. The ex-Belgian Pro Car livery looking great at the Nordschleife here. How good of a run is he going to get down the hill? Let's hop on board. Christoph Muse, second in the TTM Championship last year with Valentin Ganitschel in the team's point standing. And the class winner for the BMW M2 in the Sim2 Real 24 Hours of Nürburgring back in 2022. Sim racer for over 15 years. And he's putting all that skill here today at the Nordschleife to good use. Let's see Kuba Palabicki then. Him and Happy Coyote pushing through the pack. Let's refresh this live time and get some sectors up for you. First sector then for Mark Oros was a 3:35.8. Jaroslav Cerny in second was a 35.7. 36.1 for Coyote. 36.1 for Kuba. Fastest though, Adam Saralek in the Holden Sideheart Motorsports with a 35.6. keeping that pace going, doing a great job. Last lap was a 9:01. Of course, he had that slight mistake as well early on in the race, so the lights go on for him too. Seems to be getting darker here at the Nordschleife. 14:52 in game time. What about Happy Coyote? Let's look at the power of that Sierra. Well, we've got quite a short glimpse of it, but you can see how quickly that gap has decreased. He is all over the rear end of reigning champion Jaroslav Cerny. So they head towards the carousel, leading Sideheart Motorsports car at the moment. Mark Oros not able to pull away. The gap's closing down slightly. Was 2.5, now down to 1.9. Really wheeling that car well is Happy Coyote. Of course, again, the THR champion. One-time vice champion as well. Teams champion with Adam Serelek. Currently the fastest driver in Sector 1. Sector 2 times, Happy Coyote is quickest on a 26.7. It's 27.1 in for the car in front. Mark Oros with a 27.2. So Happy Coyote is the car on the move at the moment. That Sierra is definitely quick through Sector 2 due to all the long straights, but he's still putting the times in Sector 3 to bring the whole lap together. One car, Bobby Vakinov. He's been all over Jaden for quite a while now. Been watching the gap fluctuate between half a second and 1 second. Last time, Bobby ran a 907.6 and it was a 909.9 for Jaden in front. And through this sector, it was a 229.0 for Jaden and a 228.8. But Jaden's very wide. You can tell he is not 100% happy in that skyline and he's really having to ring it. It's the lead gap now, comes down to 1.7. So Jaroslav really chipping away at Mark's lead now with 33 minutes to go. Doing his best to get his car as we're going to get the awesome camera angle down low, watching the cars fly over the crest. Bobby Vakinov, he's now looking for the gap as Jaden runs onto the grass. Bobby has to back out of it a little bit. Both of them going over the grass. This is all going to play into the hands of Minardi Orsi if they start battling. No gap there on the inside. Jaden's still a little bit wide though. He's onto the gravel again, really struggling with that skyline. And Bobby takes the position up into 11th place. Let's see Happy Coyote then as they head down the main straight. Gap now 1.5 seconds to the lead. Happy Coyote though is absolutely flying that Sierra at 310 k's and he goes straight around the outside of Jaroslav Cerny as he goes up into 2nd place. So let's assume that's the exact same thing as to what he did the previous lap on Kuba Balabicki. He's now dropped back quite a way, unfortunately. Florian Mass is going to be in a similar situation in the Sierra, but he's got Potato Hedron in front of another Sierra, but there we go. Pulls out back alongside. So now side by side down the main straight, the spotlights of Potato Hedron's car glowing away as the lead gap's now down to 1.3. Jaden HW seems to have got back past Bobby in a straight line, so that skyline's got some great speed as Jaroslav Cerny and Happy Coyote side by side. The smart thing they need to do is not battle too hard because they're only going to let Mark Oros get away. They've got to make the advantage of that the BMW is going to be quicker in the corners and that Sierra is going to be quicker in the straight line. So as long as they don't start tripping over each other, they can still work very well in this last half an hour to close that 2-second gap. Because last time round, Happy Coyote again was the fastest car on track by, well, in that top 3, 1.1 seconds. So he's got the pace to do it. He just needs to be smart and work with Jaroslav to build up to Mark Oros. and get that gap down to the tightest gap it can be. Mark Oros has put in a great drive in that 190E to hold on to the lead for so long. Let's refresh the live timing and get these back up. Potato Hedron and Florian Mass in the Sierras still having an intense battle. Again, needs that bigger turbo on the bigger is better car to pull away. As you hear the turbo flutter, great sound on those Sierras. Flames spitting out of the side exit exhaust as well, great to see. So they both now power off of the GP loop. Bobby Vakanoff and Jaden, this battle continues. Last time round they were both in the 906s. 906.1 for Jaden and 906.7 for Bobby. Again, Will Pfizer and Grand Tourer 25. Again, it's an Alfa Romeo. In the heat of battle, he has two Sim Ruiner cars in front of him with DJM D19 and Grand Tourer, who runs wide. But Will Pfizer gets himself all over the curbs. They can't quite get on the power as we see Coyot now. He's within half a second of Yaroslav again. And they're going to be heading now out of Flugplatz. So let's have a look and see how quickly that Sierra can get back onto Yaroslav. Are they going to battle, or is Coyot going to stick behind? Let's see. Plays it smart for now, stays behind. But the lead gap now up to 2.3 from their battling early on. We should get the first sector roll in shortly and we can gauge an idea of who's running at what pace. Potato Hedron and Florian Mass still the Sierras battling. Heading through Flugplatz. Grand Toure's got to deal with Will Pfizer behind now. The power of this Alfa Romeo. Oh, as Will Pfizer goes off. Clips the curb as well. That's going to lose him some momentum. But luckily that Alfa Romeo has got a great chunk of power and should be able to catch back up to the 190E, which it does. Closes the gap down to 0.3 of a second. Happy Coyot is still all over the rear end of Yaroslav, but seems to have calmed down a little bit now. They're not battling anywhere near as much. The Alpha's power advantage shouldn't be as noticeable as they head down the hill. But he's still definitely gaining. Grand Tourer moves over to the inside. No way past for Will Pfizer. Brake disc glowing on the Alfa Romeo, using all of its stopping power to get it through this S section. So we have 27 minutes to go. Kuba Palubicki's on a bit of a run at the moment. He's managed to pull back the gap as he set the fastest first sector of anyone in the entire race with a 3:35.2. Coyot and Cerny in front were over a second slower than that, as well as Mark Oros at the front of the pack. So Kuba is the car on the lead at the moment. Needs to get a good consistent result for BMW after their showing at Horsemer, but he runs wide. He's lost all of the time he's gained, and now Happy Coyot, he's a second off the back of Yaroslav Cerny. But he's got so much more power than the E30s they head up the hill. Let's hop on board with the Eggenberger Sierra. Gap already down to 0.7. Is he going to have enough of a run to pull alongside it? Sure looks like he does. So we hear the screaming Sierra power up the hill and he's back up into second place. It's the cat and mouse of these two cars. Bit of a lock up on the inside wheel from Happy Coyot, and that's allowed Yaroslav to pull straight back in the tow. Sparks flying off the bottom of Happy Coyot's car, showing how low they're running in the setup, as well as flames coming out of the exhaust. Great to see. THRacing have done an awesome job on their pack of cars for this league for the 2025 season. But now the gap's down to 1.5 to Mark Oros in the lead, exactly the same as to where it was last time around, and Happy Coyote is absolutely flying. Fastest second sector of anyone in this race with a 2:26.2. That is a second and a half quicker than Mark Oros in the lead. We all know that the power up the hill is going to be a factor of that, but getting it round turns like this is part of it too. Adam Keefe now with the power of that Holden. He's managed to pull the gap in to Valentin Knitschel down to 0.6 of a second. Watching them absolutely fly through this part of the track here. The Alpha should have a slight advantage through this section though. So let's see if he can hold the gap. 0.5 of a second. Adam Keefe, the highest place Holden at the moment in the Bathurst 1000 livery. Winner of the THR GTC 60 class in Season 2, as well as the prototype class, the 2 litre one, in the THR 6 Hour of Le Mans in 2024 and this year in 2025. Putting those mixed skills to great use in the Holden here at the Nürburgring. Close the gap right up to 0.3 of a second on Valentin. Flying over the dip, runs a little bit wide, has to correct it, but squares the car up nicely for the exit. Great sound from this Holden. Hear how unstable the car is, bouncing off the rev limiter but still accelerating. They're absolutely flying through this last sector here. What about Bobby? He's back all over the rear end of Jaden. And Minna de Orsey's in this battle now too, as they're all catching up to Ayrton Titos, flying over the low camera angle on the crest. Brilliant work. As this time it's Bobby who's on the grass. And he's on the grass again, but gathers it all up, keeping it pinned, soaring away at the steering wheel. A great job there. Manages to get the car stopped too. But Happy Coyote now, he's on the back straight. The gap was 2 seconds at the start. It's down to 1.2 already. We've got to go see if Happy Coyote can use the power of the Sierra. It very much looks like he will. Can he take the race lead here? He's thinking about it. He's tucking in behind. Maybe going to play the smart game and get him on the next straight. Doesn't want to risk a move here. What about Adam Keefe? He's managed to get past Valentin with a raw pace, but Valentin's now tugging in straight behind. Happy Coyote 0.7 of a second off the back of Mark, so maybe a slight mistake, but that gap is closing in rapidly. Down to 0.3 to turn 1. He pulls along, and we have a new race leader briefly, but the greater brakes of that Mercedes should get him stopped for turn 1. Very sideways as he kicks the car down the gearbox. Arsene swings out. Really struggling to put the power down in that Sierra. Banging off the rev limiter, smoke pouring out the rear end of that car. There's Happy Coyote. Sets a 2:55 last time round in the final sector. It was a 2:56.3 for Mark in the lead, but this is where that 190E is just going to drive away from Coyote. Can't quite get anywhere near in the GP loop section, unfortunately. So we see how spread out the pack is now. Mark Oros, your race leader. Happy Coyote in second place. The guy on the move at the moment. Set an 8:59.1 last lap. Mark Oros was a 9-minute.1, so a second quicker. Then Yaroslav Cerny, reigning champion, in third place. Kuba Palubicki in fourth, putting in some great results for BMW. Adam Serelek in fifth place, highest place Holden. Attila Dinner, esports champion back in 2019, highest place Alfa Romeo in sixth. Adam Keefe brings up the second Holden in seventh. Valentin Knitschel in eighth. Alfie Bevan on debut, running top 10, which in this league is a very, very good statistic to have. He's in ninth in the E30 Sport Evolution M3. Jaden HW in 10th, highest place Nissan. Well ahead of multiple champion FMG down in 24th, not having a great time here at all. As Happy Coyote now, as they head on to the Nordschleife. We all know that the Sierra is going to come alive once they've got through Flugplatz, and it's just about keeping it together till they run up the big hill at Kesselchen. and unleashing the power of that Sierra. Check back on Jaroslav Cerny, because this is where the E30 is going to do him wonders. You've really got to give it to Happy Coyote. He is driving the wheels off of that Sierra. Next Sierra on the grid is Florian Mass down in 14th, the bigger is better car. He had a great run at Imola, but hasn't seemed to have been able to figure it out here at the Nordschleife. A very tricky track, but Happy Coyote representing the Ford brand up in second place. 20 minutes to go now as they head through Flugplatz. Cleanly 1.6 seconds is the lead gap. And the power of that Sierra is going to come alive and close it down quickly. Down to 1.2. 280 kilometers per hour as they head down into Orenburg. Spotlights ablaze on the front of that Sierra, the tree cover not doing the lighting any favours. Puff of smoke from Jaroslav Cerny behind as we hear the turbo flutter of that Sierra, gap down to a second as they run down the hill. So first sector times are in, and the quickest of all is Kuba Palabicki, or it was until that time has now been reset. So let's redo the live timing. It was a 3:36.8 for Mark Oros, race leader, 37.6 for Happy Coyote after his slight mistake at turn 1 and 2, just trying to get on the power. He's now got to deal with Jaroslav Cerny all over the rear end of him, who was 1.5 seconds quicker in the first sector, closing that gap up to 0.2, but the lead gap overall now is only 1.5. If Jaroslav stays behind Happy Coyote here, there's a good chance that Coyote can get a great run up the hill and drag them both along, start battling with Mark, and then Jaroslav will also be in that battle for the lead. And it's all about being smart here. Personal best for Alfie Bevan. He's gone with a 37.3, which is 2 seconds quicker than Valentin Knichel, the car in front, but he's got 3.8 seconds to try and catch up to him. It looks like Happy Coyote is in a great position here for when they run up the hill. Jaroslav 0.4 behind, but there's only one corner until that Sierra is going to unleash its power, all of its turbo boost, and fly on past. Minota Orsi, he's all over the back of Potato Hedron in his THRacing Sierra. But let's get on board now with Happy Coyote. The gap at 1.4. Watch it disappear quickly as that Eggenberger Sierra, all of its turbo power is absolutely flying up on the back. He's already pulled in half a second. Is he going to be able to make the move? I'm sure he's going to be able to want to get it done. He's already cleared a second over Jaroslav behind. He backs out of it for now, nowhere to go, can't run it around the outside, but Mark is surely going to know that Sierra is coming now. Mark Oros of Simbrun, a racing team, a great team coming out of Spain, fielding multiple cars. Look at Happy Coyote, he is one with that Sierra, fighting it. You can see the smoke puffing out the back from banging off of the rev limiter as they head down now into Carousel. 0.7 is the gap to the lead, and this is where that 190 is going to pull the gap back, and Jaroslav Cerny behind is going to bring it in. Second sector times are in. It's a 2:27.5 from Mark Oros in the lead, 2:27.2 from Happy Coyote, and a 27.4 from Jaroslav Cerny in third place. So all of them consistent through that second sector, even with the massive power difference of that Sierra. Just goes to show you how great the bop is that they've managed to get here for THR at 2025 for their Tourenwagen Meisterschaft series. Mark a little bit offline there. Coyote doing a great job of squaring the car up and just punching the power. He really knows how to drive the Sierra quickly. Let's see what Yaroslav's going to do. He's hot on the heels now. Of Jaroslav Cerny. Of Happy Coyote, sorry. but there's nowhere really Yaroslav can make the move. All high-speed corners, and that Sierra can just about get the traction down in 3rd and 4th gear to pull the gap enough for the next corner. Gap at 1.2 now to the lead. So they're going to fly over the crest. It's going to be a great camera angle. Yaroslav bouncing off the curves with that Sierra carrying its momentum well. And I think Coyote is going to be in for a great chance here to take the lead down the main straight out of Dottinger Hole. Minna Orsi still all over the rear end of Potato Hedron in the side heart Sierra. Bit of front damage now on the front of that Sierra, so not quite sure what's happened there, but Florian Mass has cleared quite a way up the road now, 6.2 seconds, so that battle is no longer on, as they're just coming out of Dottinger now. So 1.5 seconds is the gap. Yaroslav's going to want every bit of slipstream he can get. Let's watch that Sierra close in again. Is he going to be able to get there this time around? It very much looks like it. Didn't quite have it last time, but it seems like he's going to be able to clear him for the lead. He pulls out alongside. And he takes it. Mark Oros back in the slipstream. 0.7 of a second. 0.9 of a second. But he should be able to gain some of that back. The Sierra spitting flames. Doing a great job. Happy Coyote looked very much on the ragged edge there coming out of the final corner as they power down to the main straight. Should be 2 laps to go after this. 1.4 seconds is the gap across the line. Fastest final sector of anyone by over 2 seconds for Happy Coyote. What a great last sector he's managed to put in there. Now he's just going to try and get it through this GP loop without losing too much time. Florian Mass, he's closing up onto the back of Bobby Vakinov in the Alfa Romeo. Using the power of that Sierra in a straight line. That's Ayrton Titos, he's ran off wide, goes across the grass, almost manages to keep it out the wall, but where is Potato Hedron? He manages to get through, and Ayrton Titos back on the road. Minna Orsi not quite close, no he is close enough. It is Giacomo Henrico who's been fighting for P15, it seems to have been all race long with his starting position. He's going to have a great run on Ayrton now. The pink accented Simruina car. Ayrton doesn't defend it too heavily and goes to the inside. ABS on these two cars, I believe. Pushes it well. Can he get the undercut? Big lockup from Will Pfizer in the background as they're side by side. Almost contact, pushing him onto the grass, but manages to chop the nose off. Pretty dirty driving there from Ayrton Titos, but that is touring car racing for you. And Jacopo makes the position back up. Mark Oros unable to close the gap back through this GP section. Still 1.5 to Happy Coyote in front. Now down to 1.3 through the chicane. Really showing the superior suspension and aero on that 190E. And this is where the gap's going to be able to start reeling back in. Florian Mass, only 0.6 off the back of the Alpha of Bobby Vakinov. As well as DJMD and Jordi Samoy, who wants me to give a shout out to Nick Wu at the first round. Now down to 0.6 of a second, but we all know what that Sierra is going to be able to do on the run to Flugplatz. It all depends on if Mark can carry the speed through it to try and get somewhat of a slingshot to keep within that slipstream to gain some time back. The gap's at 0.7 as they enter the corner, and it's probably going to be at the high end of 0.5, low 0.6, but here goes that Sierra on the power, just driving away. Nothing Mark can do. And it's all going to depend on how he can get back. Florian Mass and Bobby side by side. Bit of contact, bit of rubbing, that's touring cars for you. Is Bobby going to be able to shove the nose back? He is not. And Florian Mass up to 11th place in the bigger is better RS 500. Florian Mass again, a THR champion, 3 times vice champion. Doing a great job in the Sierra in 11th. Which is the second Sierra on the grid. Happy Coyote in the lead. And then Florian in 11th. Check in on Alfie Bevan, see how he's getting on. His car's still looking a little sorry for himself, but he's putting in some solid times as the sector times start to come in now for this lap. 3:36.4 for Happy Coyote, a 3:36.5 for Mark, so he hasn't managed to pull it back in. 3:35.7 though for Yaroslav Cerny. He is the car on the move this lap as the gap closes in to Mark Oros. But Mark really needs to get back ahead of the Sierra before the big run up the hill. Otherwise, the race may well be, how can I say, not finished, but definitely it's going to lead towards Happy Coyote's favour. You can see how hard Mark's pushing. This top 3 have been on it the whole race. 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. The monstrous power of the RS 500 Sierra versus the nimble and agilityness of the 190E and the E30 M3. 0.7 is the gap, 0.6 to the lead. But I don't think Mark's going to be close enough to be able to retake it this lap, and we all know that Sierra is going to pull a massive lead as it goes up the hill out of the next corner. Personal best from Jaden HW. He's managing to get to grips with his R31. He's at a 3:37.4 in the first sector. It was also a personal best lap last time round for 9:04.8. As Adam Keefe has lost a chunk of time. He's still a 9:17 last lap, so it must have been a mistake from him, and that's allowed Alfie Bevan up into 8th place. Personal best from Bobby Vakinov, who's now chasing Florian Mass again, with a 9:05.9. Jacopo down in 15th. Not really down in 15th, as we've got a 35 cars still running on this pack. He's set a personal best with a 9:09.1. DJMD 19, 9:13.07. That's a personal best from him. And then the 24th, 25th and 26th battle between FMG, Maju and Pitman. All again setting personal best. But Happy Coyote has pulled out 2 seconds now on the run up the hill in his Sierra RS 500. Shooting flames on the limiters. We're going to see him come into the carousel. So if Mark wants to get past, this is where he's got to do it. Sector 2 times. It was a 2:27.4 for Coyote, 2:27.3 for Mark Oros, and a 2:27.4 again for Yaroslav. These 3 inseparable on pace at the moment. So NECA, they have a new tyre compound for this weekend. Due to events at Horsma last week, a new tyre was developed for certain cars, and it's certainly helping out Happy Coyote in the Sierra. By far the fastest Sierra on track. Next up is Florian Mass in 11th place. He's 5 seconds a lap slower than the leader at the moment. Mark Oros in the Simbruiner 190E doing a great job in 2nd place. Hot on the heels though, reigning champion Yaroslav Cerny. She's closing right up now to 0.3. All over the rear ends. We're going to get a great camera shot again down through the dip. Let's hop on board with Mark. He's going to be flat through here, just trying to get any sort of run he can on Coyote. He's looking for the inside but cannot get it done. Is he going to flick to the inside and try to carry the momentum? No, he can't. He's got to try and make a move. And there he's going for the inside. He's made it happen, and this is going to play into the hands of Jaroslav Cerny, who should be able to slingshot it off. Just trying to do anything he can to delay Coyote down the straight in his Sierra, because he knows he's just going to drive past him. Mark almost looked like he ran wide. He was right on the limits there. But here will come the power of the Sierra. A flash of lights from Jaroslav Cerny as they all pull over to the right hand side of the track. But here comes the power of that Sierra. Just drives straight past Mark Oros, and Mark is going to pull back behind. But look at that Sierra go. Nothing he can do to contend with that. Coyote has got the car so dialed in for the rest of the lap, unlike anybody else in that Sierra has. And look at him go. He's pulled off almost a second and a half now down the straight. Absolutely flying as they'll be heading on to the final lap now, I believe. Jaroslav behind then. They've got 2 seconds to try and reel back in on the Sierra. If they want to win this, they've got to work together to try and pull that gap back in. They cannot be battling, because if they battle, then Happy Coyote is guaranteed to win this race. So last sector, it was a 256.8 for Happy Coyote, 256.7 for Mark Oros, and a 56.4 for Jaroslav. 56.3 for Adam Saralek. He's running in 5th place, the highest place Holden at the moment. But importantly, 2 BMWs in P3 and P4. That's going to be great for the manufacturer standings. Another one, Alfie Bevan in P8. The only Ford in the top 10 is your leader, Happy Coyote. 2 Alfa Romeos in the top 10 of Valentin Knitschel, as well as Attila Deno, who's had quite a quiet race running on his own. He's running in the 6th at the moment. Personal best middle and last sectors for Attila last time round. So his car is coming to life towards the end of the race. Jaden as well, running in 10th. Highest place Skyline is going to be able to get some points for his manufacturer, as well as the Sideheart team he's running for. So the gap's down to 1.7 now for the lead. 1.5, 1.4. Happy Coyote might have made a mistake there. Gap back up to 1.5 after that straight, but should pull a few temps back in over the chicane. The 190 looking absolutely planted. That was a bit of a slide from Jaroslav behind. You can tell he's pushing. Fastest lap of the race last time round was Happy Coyote with an 8.58 flat. It was an 8.59.5 from Mark and an 8.59.1 from Jaroslav. Adam Saralek doing his best to get up to 4th place. He went a second quicker than Kuba Palibicki, who's dropped off a bit now, 7 seconds off of this lead pack. Grand Tourer in 18th, he's closing in on Minida Orsi. Grand Tourer ran a 9.09 last time, and 9.07 from Minida Orsi in front, so they're still close, lapping within a second. Mark's got the gap down to 0.7. Not going to be enough to challenge the Sierra through this section. Well, I think Mark really needs the Sierra to make a mistake here, as I want to say the timeline to finish the race is going to be halfway down the back straight, unless they have been instructed to race to the line. That's not something I've been informed about, but we shall see. Alfie Bevan setting consistent times in the mid 9.05s. As Adam Saralek has dropped a bit back now on Kuba, so possibly another mistake from him, as we saw early in the race, but the top 5, very respectable finish for sure. The gap now a second to Happy Coyote for the lead. Grand Tourer now only 0.2 off the back of Minida Orsi as they're going side by side. Ooh, a bit of dab of brakes. Getting rough and desperate racing towards the end of this now. Sim Ruiner, 3 teams of cars fielded this time. The gap's still 1.1 at the front of the pack. This is where Mark's going to make all the time back up, but Coyote is so planted with that Sierra. He knows how to square it off on a corner and plant the throttle, squeeze it to make the most out of that turbo to keep the gap through these twisty sections. Doing a great job. 40 seconds left on the counter, so this should be the final lap of the race now. Unless it is +1. Mark doing everything he can. Let's hop on board to close that gap back up to the Side Heart Motorsport Sierra RS500 of Happy Coyote. He's got a slingshot it out of here if he wants any chance, because that Sierra is just going to drive off now. Last lap. The timing board says it first. So as far as I'm concerned, this will run to halfway down the start-finish line. So Coyote is in a great position. He runs a little bit wide though. Manages to square the car off and boot the power. Look at the flames and the smoke coming out the back of that on turbo on the limiter. And he's going to pull that gap out now. Nothing that Mark or Yaroslav can do about it. Sure, Mark was hoping he could get closer this time round as Happy Coyote just powers off into the distance. First sectors then, it was a 3:36.9 for Coyote, 36.1 for Mark, and a 36.6 for Yaroslav. But he's pulled out 2.4 seconds over the straight as Mark's got on the grass, and that's going to open him up to Yaroslav Cerny behind now. Are these two going to fight? Mark's got dirty tyres. He's a little bit squirrely coming out of there as the gap's now 2.7. And I think Happy Coyote may have this in the bag if he can keep it all together. Maybe the battle for second to the line. Two very even cars. As Yaroslav's off wide, and he's going to lose some time. He's all over the curb, and that's really offset him, and he's dropped back a second there. What a shame for Yaroslav Cerny. He was really pushing hard, setting consistent times all last race. One of the few that broke the 9-minute time. And unfortunately, he's thrown it all away on the last lap, but it's still going to be a solid podium position and some good points scored for BMW. An unfortunate end to the race for him, unless Mark Oros in front makes a mistake. But Happy Coyote, he's got 2.5 seconds breathing room at the front. He's going to have to make a big mistake to lose all of that time, even in this last sector. Happy Coyote has ran an absolutely brilliant race here at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. He's a little bit wide, but it doesn't particularly matter. He's got 1.7 seconds, 1.6 over the Mercedes behind. And I think even if he does lose a lot more time here, the finishing line being halfway down the straight is still going to rock into his favour as we'll watch all three of them go over the crest this time. Your race leader, Coyote, Oros in second, and Yaroslav Cerny in third. 1.1 is the gap now, but I think it's too little too late from Mark. That slight mistake at the top of the hill has upset the race ending, but it's not going to be upset for Happy Coyote. He's going to take the final few corners in his Sierra, the gap only 0.9, but I don't think it matters, as he stamps on the power for the penultimate time as they head round Dottinger. And it seems that Happy Coyote is going to be your race winner here at round 3. The gap got down to 0.6 out of the final corner as they run down to the line halfway down the start-finish straight. Happy Coyote is going to be your race winner by the looks of things. The gap's out to a second as they power down the straight to finish off the race. Have they been instructed to race to the line? Let's see. It seems like they may as well have been. And a big drift out the last corner for Happy Coyote, who takes the win at the third round of the THRacing Tourenwagen-Meisterschaft 2025. Great drive there from Coyote in the RS500, outclassing everybody else. Mark Oros for Simruina finishes second, Yaroslav Cerny in third. It's going to be Kuba Palibicki in fourth place after a not so good round two. He's going to redeem it for round three. Adam Serelek making a few mistakes brings it back to P5. Attila Dinner, a very quiet race for him, is going to bring back a 6th and a 7th place for Valentin Kanichel for the Alfa Romeo squad. Alfie Bevan on debut is going to be a very respectable 8th position in the Demon Tweaks M3. Florian Mass, the race may not be over for him as he's only got 0.6 to Jaden in front, but Jaden in the Sierra, he's going to have a good chunk of power too. The gap down to 0.5, he can't quite get it to the line as Jaden rounds out the top 10 with Adam Keefe in 9th. Bobby's going to finish 12th in his Alfa Romeo. Will Pfizer, Potato Hedron, all close to finish off this race. A big slide from Will Pfizer out of the last corner. Jacopo Himreko, he's going to finish 15th. Seems to have been battling for that position the whole race. Minota Orsi held on to 17th from Grand Tourer 25, who finishes 18th in the Simruina car. Jordi Samoy, shout out to Nick Wu, rounds out 19th place in the Pepsi BMW M3 as DJ MD19. In 20th place, Akira in the Sol Audi. Let's see how he's got on. Brings it home in 21st. Again, the Sol Audi entry in this league. Developing that car all by himself and brings it home to 21st place. FMG and Christoph Muse, 22nd and 23rd. Couldn't quite close it in. Not a great round for FMG, unfortunately. The multiple champion at THR. Eamon Asabir in 24th. Maju 25th. Hopefully Maju has still got some fuel. It looks like Maju is out of fuel rolling up to the line, and he's going to lose a position to Pitman, who doesn't push the Holden across the line. Is anyone going to push the Holden across the line? It seems like he's just going to be able to make it and beat Giuliano Gonzalez, a Simruina car. So Maju comes home in P26. Radu Pedasco. And then the FINA M3 of D. Weller. Another Alfa Romeo brings it home. Let's see Flashaw. Didn't see Flashaw at all really during the race. In 32nd, he was chasing Max Solomia to the line. Nat Stevenson follows him closely. Not a great race for him because he was up towards the top 10, I believe. Towards the start as well. Gia Askelen, the Norwegian driver, brings it home in 34th place. And Nicholas Bonfon in the BMW M3 is going to round out the pack in his Benson and Hedges Australian touring car livery. Flames spitting from the rear end. Hop on board for the final section as he brings it home. So then that is it for round 3 of the THR 2025 THM series, as we see the entire, or the majority of the pack parked here at turn 1. The Tourenwagen-Meisterschaft Nordschleife is finished. Happy Coil is your winner. What a great drive from him in the RS500 to bring that home. Round 4 will take us to the other side of the world, I believe. Let me get up the rest of the calendar so we can double check that. But I've got a good idea of what it is. It is correct. It is the Wellington Street Circuit next time round in 2 weeks' time. Then we head to Mount Panorama and finally the Adelaide Street Circuit to finish off the season. So thank you all very much for watching this evening. I hope you've all a great time. My name has been Jake, or Micro, and to commentate in this one, it's been a pleasure as always. So thank you to Pitman, Valentin and the rest of the team at THR for this opportunity. And I will see you all in 2 weeks' time. Take care, everybody, and see you soon.